Good as you'll ever be. Okay. Right. So, carrying on with the night scene project for anybody who wants to take part in that. It's not compulsory, but if you fancy taking part in that, that's what I'm going to be doing my demos on this month. I thought this week I'd do a little bit of pastel. So just to give pastel. Yeah. So yeah, you have. Yeah. We've got some black paper that one of our students very kindly donated. Yep, Lynn got some black paper. So if anybody wanted to have a bit of this, I'll cut it into this size, but you can do it bigger as well if you want. So I started this as a demo on Thursday, and I thought it was going quite well. I'd quite like to just carry this one on a little bit. So I thought I'd use this image for the pastel demo today. And then I think the last couple of weeks, next week and the week after, I'll do some sort of painting. So probably oils, possibly acrylic, but probably oils are better, a bit less of paint. It's easier for me to use oils. I brought a couple of my sketches in. So these are oil sketches. So these are little paintings I've done on location quite a number of years ago. That's probably the most recent one. So me having a go at painting the fireworks live down the seafront. I haven't done it this year, but quite often over the years I've been down and go at that. And this was just before the fireworks, the children playing the fountain. So this was the thing that I was demonstrating charcoal last week. And that I might try and make it. I always thought I'd quite like to make that into a bigger painting, perhaps make it a little bit taller, a bit more space here, and just a bit more definition. So that might be the one I work up into a painting. That's those two. So with the pastels, this was a photo I took of Westcliff many years ago, just looking over the footbridge down there. And I just rather like the way these buildings were lit up. I made a start on this. The sky, I was thinking, well actually it's a photo, I like that, but it really is too cut off. I really could have done with looking down a bit further and seeing what was down here. So I've just kind of made on here, just sketched out the amount I want to carry that on. And I probably would lose some of the sky. That's probably enough sky, just so prop it about there. So that's what I've aimed for in my sketch so far. The colours in the sky, I'll just put some colours down. I'll do a little bit more of that. So starting perhaps with some purpley pinks, exaggerated them a little bit just to make them a little bit more interesting. So some blue and some sort of pinky colours. The pastels I'm using, I've got this set of inscribed pastels. So if you ever fancy trying pastels or you haven't got any pastels already, these are a very good place to start. They're quite a small, economical box. You get lots of colours, and they're quite good to use because they're not too big and chunky. So you get lots of colours for your money. That's the good thing about those. Just thinking about perhaps greying this down a little bit. Got a little bit of brown in there. And with pastels, quite often I'll use them on their sides. And so you got, and then the mixing is really popping one colour over the top of another. Yeah, either working them with my fingers, or you could use one of these paper blenders, or a bit of chamois leather or something like that. So my first layer, I'll quite often just work that into the paper itself, so that you haven't got the grain so much. And then put some of those lighter pinks and oranges on there. I'll start with the pinky colours. That's a deeper one. I'm going here, and then a little bit the orange. I'm exaggerating what's here really, because I quite like this to be the brightest bit. So I want the sunset, to be there, but I want this sort of really to be the focal area. So I'm deliberately making a few kind of artistic alterations and just toning that down a tiny bit. And that's quite nice. That's a bit like how the sky sometimes, once the sun's just below the horizon, you get these sort of colours. Pastels actually, for working outdoors, they're probably not a bad colour because it's a very quick and instant way of getting colour. Whereas with paint, you obviously slow down by the mixing. So this is quite a nice way of getting quick colour. And then perhaps work up some of the details of the building then. I find quite often with the dark, although it's black paper, the black pastel is darker still. So sometimes I work some of the black in, like that around there, and then work other colours into that. So if I want to just sort of soften that a little bit, perhaps a little bit of brown, just graze that over the surface. Here there's some reflected lights in these little bits, and again I don't want to go too light, so if you've got a bit of scrap you can try them out. That's probably going to be a bit too light still, so perhaps I'll try a darker brown to start with, just for this, that gable end. Yeah, that's about the right sort of tone, something like that, and then a little bit of that archway in there. So although we're looking at colour, it's still tonal. You know, we took about tones last week, and then some details in the windows. Yeah, perhaps going a little bit darker, just under here, and up still. Yeah, so dark enough. So let's go for the black, because if it's not dark enough, what I find is the easiest thing to do is put black on and then lighten it up a little bit. So put black in there and in the windows, and then just lighten that with one of the browns. Your other options are things like the pastel pencils, so these. And if anybody wants to try any of this, you're very welcome to try these. The thing with the pencils, they're quite nice and they're very controllable, but I do find them a bit slow. It's a lot of, you know, filling in. They're probably good for a very detailed subject, but a subject like this, I quite like to be able to just work quite broadly, simplifying some areas. And then as we come down this area here with the, you know, the lovely greens and some sort of a little bit of green there. And then I might want to just soften that out in places. Let's just a bit of that. And then I'll use some white, this where the lights are sort of showing through. So hopefully that, you know, helps to get that all to stand out. The windows themselves are quite an orangey colour, so perhaps that sort of glowing quality to the windows. And some light onto the pavement. Probably not the right colour, but to give that sense of coming out. That's the pinky colour. And then hopefully sort of gives that impression of the whole thing sort of glowing, and the light source being within the painting itself, rather than shining in from the left or the right. With the night paintings, you've got this lovely sort of like warm feeling of areas of light source coming out. Is that enough? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if anyone wants to use these, then
Yeah, yeah.